We're coming ever closer to 30 years of Pokémon, so you'd be forgiven for forgetting about some of the many characters we've been introduced to over the years. They can all be blue, Cynthia or N, with long-lasting legacies and a place in the heart of many fans. Today, we're gonna take a look at the Pokémon characters that won't be getting included in Masters, or receive an ancestor in a new Legends game. These are the characters who are all but forgotten. And where better to start than at the very beginning, Kanto, Route 1 specifically. Not only is this a hotbed of Rattata and Pidgey, it's also the setting of the Poké Dude Show, a TV program you can watch in Fire Red and Leaf Green using a key item known as the Teachy TV. The show is hosted by Primo, also known as the titular Poké Dude, and is 6 episodes long. All of them explain basic Pokémon mechanics, like battling, catching, using TMs and the type matchups. Giving out useful information runs in the family apparently, because Primo is the grandson of the old man of Viridian City, who blocks the path towards Viridian Forest and teaches players how to catch Pokémon. Maybe as a result of his newfound success, he would eventually end up moving to Johto, allowing him to reappear in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. He can be found in the Violet City Pokémon Center, where he will hand out either wallpapers for the player's box or Pokémon eggs. These can contain either a Wooper, Slugma or Mareep. Mind you, this is the only Slugma obtainable in the entirety of Johto, so this might be a fun thing to try next time you replay the game. You will need a secret code though, which is dependent on your trainer ID. You could originally get those via the Pokemon Daisuki Club website, but fortunately, the good folks over at pokewiki.de have been able to create a code generator. Aside from the main series games, Primo also appeared in the TCG under the name Pokédude, on a promo card that was only available in 2004. The card's artwork is a bizarre live-action one, where a real-life actor portrays Primo. This actor is not some famous Japanese TV host or comedian though, it's actually Hironobu Yoshida, a graphic designer who has worked at Game Freak since 1997. He is the creator of several iconic Pokémon like Wobbuffet, Celebi, Deoxys, Darkrai and Rayquaza, and is credited for concept art as recently as the Scarlet and Violet DLC. In Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Primo can also make an occasional appearance at the Pokéathlon, which is in general just a completely forgotten feature it seems like. It's no surprise then that the founder of the tournament and presumed owner of the Pokéathlon Dome has also been left behind. His name is Magnus, and he is the person who first explains the mechanics of this new area to the player when first visiting. He can later be seen watching from the stands, and should the player ever end up making it to the Friendship Room, the upper echelon of the Pokéathlon, he will be waiting there to congratulate the player. Besides the fact he owns a Poliwrath, not much more is known about the guy, but during my research for this video, I did notice something interesting. Take a look at this guy's sprite, which is unique to him by the way. Remind you of anyone? Maybe I'm seeing things there, but if you ask me, Magnus is a perfect doppelganger of Wulfric, the 8th gym leader of Kalos. Look at them! Same mustache, same blue coat, similar hairstyles as well. Now, I'm not trying to imply Wulfric is leading a double life or has a hidden brother or anything, but the similarities are striking. And with only 3 years between the releases of the Johto remakes and X and Y, I don't think we can rule out the possibility Magnus influenced Wulfric's design. But okay, Wulfric is definitely not forgotten, so I suggest we get back to some more niche names, such as Felicity for example. Now, unless you really know your stuff, I'm willing to bet that name doesn't sound familiar. However, you are undoubtedly familiar with her role in the game, as the mechanics she runs is definitely not forgotten. I'm talking about the Pokémon Lottery, known as Lotto ID since Gen 6, where you can win prizes based on the ID number of your Pokémon. This has been a feature since Gen 2, with a second Master Ball being the coveted reward for getting a perfect match. While the Lotto ID can be easily played in any Pokémon Center these days, it used to be a specific location in Gens 2, 3 and 4, known as the Pokémon Lottery Corner, and in Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Diamond, Pearl and their remakes, the lottery is operated by Felicity. She can be found on the ground floor of Jubilife TV and the Goldenrod radio tower, indicating the lottery is affiliated with broadcast channels on the radio and TV. Her name is actually not revealed in the original Gen 4 games, with the TCG informing us of it before Platinum, Heart Gold and Soul Silver would have her introducing herself properly. Her name is a nice little reference, as it's based on the Latin word for luck, which is Felicitas. Her Japanese name, Suzy, is also a reference to her job, as it's a play on Suji, the Japanese word for numbers. And speaking of numbers, over the years we have seen a large number of Pokémon Storage System Developers. This has also turned into a bit of a forgotten part of Pokémon history, but the developers of the box system used to be actual in-game characters. Ever since the Switch games, which allow us to access the box anywhere, these characters have disappeared, but this archetype was once a mainstay. I'd say the concept was introduced and ended with a bang, with Bill in Gen 1 and Mullane in Gen 7, both of which are well-known characters. Hoenn had Lynette take over after 2 regions of Bill, which I guess is memorable in itself. The same cannot be said for her younger sister Bridget, who was introduced in Pokémon Box Ruby and Sapphire. This was effectively extra storage space for your Gen 3 games on your GameCube, so a very limited release. I used to have it as a kid actually, because it came bundled with Pokémon Colosseum, but back then I didn't realize what the purpose of it was. Anyway, Bridget is the host of this service and has expanded the box to allow for 1500 Pokémon, which was enough for almost 4 living dexes at the time. Occasionally, she would also give the player special Pokémon, like a Zigzagoon with extreme speed or a Pichu with Surf. As the years went by, Bridget's name began to fade from memory, until she made a surprise return in 2013 as the host of Pokémon Bank. She got a complete redesign and even some cards in the TCG to immortalize her. But with Pokémon Bank surely heading towards its end date by now, Bridget is once again close to being forgotten once more. Although, if you can come back from a little known GameCube title from 2004, who's to say you can't make your main series debut eventually? When we visited Sinnoh for the first time, we were once again introduced to a new storage system developer with Bibi. She's a computer expert who lives in Hardhome City, although she appears as early as Jubilife City in the remakes. There, she upgrades the player's PC system to allow them to access their boxes everywhere, as is common in modern Pokémon games of course. Her real memorable act doesn't happen until after you've received the National Dex, however. It's revealed she's friends with Bill, who was so kind as to send her an Eevee, which he then gives to you. Apparently, Game Freak thought this was such a good idea they would end up repeating this feat in Unova, where the local PC developer Amanita also hands out an Eevee after you've become champion, albeit only in black and white too. She lives in Striaton City and is the younger sister of Fanel, who operates the Dream World. I guess that with the Dream World now being offline for over 10 years, she's slowly heading towards forgotten character status herself as well, but I feel she has enough of an impact in the Gen 5 games to be at least somewhat remembered. The same thing can absolutely not be said for Cassius, however, which I would consider the most forgettable storage system developer of them all. In fact, he's not a developer at all, he's merely the manager in the absence of the true mastermind behind it all, Bill. He says as much himself when the player comes across his residence in Camp Frere Town in the Kalos region. Unfortunately, there is not much more to this encounter than a general explanation on how boxes work. No story events, no gift Pokemon, nothing. Cassius did get a card in the TCG, but the same applies to all his colleagues except for Amanita. That doesn't really make him any less forgettable. And for our final character, I want to head to another overlooked Pokemon location / feature, being the Pokestar Studios in Unova. A location exclusive to the sequel games, this is a film studio based on Hollywood, where players could star in movies, alongside famous stars like Bryson Man and Belelba. These two are definitely well remembered, seeing as their true identity is gym leaders Bryson and Sabrina. The same cannot be said of the third movie star of these games though, the actor best known for his portrayal of Riolu Man. I'm talking about Papa Roxie, or, to put it differently, the father of Roxie, gym leader of Burbank City. Just like his daughter doubles as musician and gym leader, he works as both an actor and sailor, as he's also the captain of the ferry that sails between Burbank and Castelia City. He functions mostly as a roadblock for the player, who can't progress until he has completed his audition and filming for his first ever movie, Midlife Man of Justice vs. Bryson Man. It's only after this masterpiece that your journey can continue, after which we never see Paparazzi again. And that's all I have for you today. Let me know in the comments if you were familiar with these folks, or if I have, ironically enough, forgotten to mention some truly forgettable faces. If you enjoyed hearing me talk about Pokemon, please consider liking this video and subscribing, and for now, thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.